I'm 92 years old, 92, and I've seen people ruin their entire life with one decision. People think the biggest mistakes are things like losing money, picking the wrong job, or moving to the wrong city. But I'll tell you something most folks don't want to admit out loud. The biggest mistake a man can make is marrying the wrong person. Because when you marry wrong, it doesn't destroy you all at once. No, it destroys you slowly, quietly, like a leak in the roof you keep ignoring until one day the whole damn house collapses. Now, me, I was married for 54 years. 54. Let that sink in. That's longer than most people stay alive these days. Her name was Eleanor. Tough woman, warm hands. She used to hum while she cooked, even when we didn't have much in the pantry. And for 54 years, she was the one constant in my life, until cancer finally took her away from me. And let me tell you, losing her was like losing the ground under my feet. This house is too quiet now. The silence is different. It doesn't feel peaceful anymore. It feels empty. But even with all that pain, I can say something rare. I don't regret her. Not for a second. Because I've met men my age who do regret it. I've seen it in their eyes. They sit in their living rooms beside a woman they've been married to for decades, and they look like prisoners. Not because the woman is evil. Not always. But because deep down, they know they chose wrong.
And that regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It sits in the corner of the room like a ghost. It shows up in the way they avoid going home, in the way they stay longer at work, in the way they stop smiling.
And that's why people come to me. Young men, mostly. Sometimes older ones, too. And they ask me the same question every time. They lean in like they're confessing a crime. Then, Frank, how do I know? How do I know if she's the one? How do I know if I'm wasting my life? And when they say it, I see the fear in their face. Not fear of being alone. No, it's worse than that. They're terrified that one day they're going to wake up at 80 years old, sit at the breakfast table.
You look across at the person you married and realize you're staring at a stranger they've been living with for 50 years. And they'll think, my God, I gave my whole life away.
And son, that fear is real because I've watched it happen. And if you're asking this question right now, then deep down, you already know something isn't right. Let me tell you the truth nobody wants to hear. Most people don't marry the wrong person because they're stupid. They marry the wrong person because they're asking the wrong questions.
When you're young, you think love is supposed to feel like a movie. You want the butterfly, you want your heart racing, you want that rush, that spark, that feeling like the world disappears when they walk into the room. You want fireworks. And sure, fireworks are beautiful. But you know what fireworks do? They explode. They burn bright for a moment, and then they vanish.
And after they're gone, all you're left with is smoke and darkness.
That's what happens to most relationships. People chase the excitement, the drama, the passy. Can't live without you feeling. And for a while, it feels magical.
But real life doesn't stay magical. Real life is bills. Real life is stress.
Real life is getting sick. Real life is losing someone you love. Real life is waking up tired and still having to show up.
Attraction is easy when everything is going well. The real question is, what happens when life gets ugly? Because love that lasts 50 years isn't built on butterflies. Butterflies die. Real love is a fireplace. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't flash and sparkle.
But it stays warm, it stays steady. It keeps you alive when the storms come and the furnace breaks.
A fireplace doesn't impress strangers, but it saves the people living inside the house. That's why attraction is not enough. Attraction is just the door. It's not the foundation. It's not the roof. It's not the thing that holds you together when everything else falls apart.
If you're choosing a partner based only on chemistry, beauty, or excitement, you're not choosing love. You're choosing entertainment. And entertainment runs out fast. So stop asking, do I feel butterflies?
Does this person feel like home? All right, listen close, because this part right here is where most people either save their life or ruin it. I call them the 4 life tests. And they don't care about your wedding vows, your pretty photos, or how good you look together on social media. These tests reveal the truth. Test 1, the silence. When you're young, you think love is talking nonstop. Laughing, flirting, texting all day. You think if the room gets quiet, something is wrong. But real love is proven in silence. Picture this. You're driving with her. 2 hours. No music, no phone, no conversation. Just the road and the quiet. Does it feel peaceful? Like you can breathe? Or does it feel heavy? Because if silence with her feels like pressure, that's not love. That's anxiety wearing perfume. If you can't be quiet together, you can't grow old together. A partner should feel like home, not like an audience.
Life is not a vacation, life is war. One day you'll get the phone call, the one that makes your stomach drop.
You'll lose the job. Your parent will get sick. Your bank account will hit zero. Your world will shake. And when that day comes, look beside you. Does she step forward and say, "We'll handle this together"? Or does she collapse, panic, blame you, or make it all about her fear? I've seen by our side, women roll up their sleeves when their man had nothing. And I've seen others walk out the door of the quantities. Warning, the wrong person will abandon you emotionally before they ever leave physically. If she can't survive your worst days, she doesn't deserve your best ones. This one is dangerous because it's quiet. Who do you become when she enters the room? Do you feel stronger, more confident, more alive, or do you shrink?
Do you start walking on eggshells? Do you watch every word? Do you hide your dreams because you don't want the fight, the jealousy, the drama?
I've seen strong men turn into shadows of themselves just to keep the peace. They stop laughing. They stop dreaming. They stop being who they are. The wrong love will slowly erase you. If you have to become smaller to keep someone, they were never meant for you. Now listen carefully. When something good happens, promotion, success, good news, and who's the first person you want to tell? If it's not her, your heart already left. And when you do tell her, watch her reaction. Do her eyes light up? Does she smile like your win is her win? Or does she give that cold little look, that jealous pause, that fake good for you tone?
Because jealousy in marriage is poison. A marriage can't survive when love turns into competition.
If your success makes your partner bitter, you're not in a relationship, you're in a rivalry.
Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. When you marry the wrong person, it usually doesn't start bad. A few uncomfortable silences. A few moments where you feel lonely even though you're not alone.
A few times you think, maybe this is just what marriage feels like. And that's how people trap themselves. Because instead of facing the truth, they make excuses. They say, it's just a rough phase. Nobody's perfect. At least she's loyal. I've already invested too much time. And years pass. Then one day you look in the mirror and you realize you've been living the same unhappy day for 10 straight years. You're not building a life, you're surviving it. The laughter disappears. The affection becomes routine. Conversations turn into transactions. And the saddest part? You stop noticing how miserable you are.
Because misery becomes normal. That's why wrong marriage is a slow death.
It kills your confidence first, then your ambition, then your peace, then your joy.
And you know what happens after that? You stay. Not because you're happy, but because you're tired. Because leaving feels harder than suffering. So you don't leave at 30 when you still have time to restart. You stay and you suffer till 80. And at that age, regret isn't just sadness. Regret becomes a prison. You wake up beside someone you don't feel safe with. You sit at the dinner table with a person who feels like a stranger. And you realize you didn't lose your life in one moment. You lost it slowly, one silent year at a time. And that's the tragedy. Not divorce, not loneliness.
The real tragedy is staying in the wrong place long enough that you forget what happiness even feels like.
Now look, I miss my wife. God, I miss her more than I can explain. Some nights I still wake up and reach my hand to the other side of the bed, half asleep, expecting to feel her warmth. My touch is cold sheets and empty space. This house, it's too quiet now. The kind of quiet that reminds you what you've lost. But even with all that pain, I can tell you something most people can't. I don't regret a single day. Not because life was perfect, it wasn't. We fought, we struggled, we went through storms that nearly broke us. But when the world turned dark, she was there. When the silence came, it fell in. When life tested us, we stood together. And that's why I'm telling you this.
You get one life, just one. You don't get a second chance at time. You don't get a refund on years.
So stop wasting your days trying to make the wrong person fit just because you're scared of being alone. Being single at 30 is scary, but being married to the wrong person at 60, that's a tragedy. So tell yourself the truth. And if this message hit you deep, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone. And I want you to do something for me. Which test hit you the hardest? Silence, Foxhole, Mirror, or News? If you want more real-life lessons like this, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Because life is too short for fake love and quiet regret. Don't chase fireworks.